Hey there, thanks for stopping by. I'm Bluebear, and this is another Incarnate video. In this video, we're going to continue the series of the part walkthroughs, and we're going to talk about the common judge parts. All right, so let's get into what the parts are for the common judge incarnate. So for the mind part, the part is called summons, and the ability is to teleport to a space in your presence and gain giant for 2 turns. And just reminding myself what giant is. Giant is a 25% heal and max HP plus 25%, and your range goes up by 1. So you get more healing, you get more HP, and your range increases by 1. So the range here is 2, so that would end up going to 3 when you actually use that summons ability and gain giant. The body part is called Affidavit, and it's attack enemies in line based on your presence behind you. So what it will do is it will take and attack enemies in a straight line behind you, 3 spaces. So anywhere in those 3 spaces based on your presence, those enemies will get attacked. The soul part is called Subpoena, and that's attack target enemy and apply blind for 1 turn. And a blind means that incarnate that is blinded cannot select a target. So effectively, it takes that incarnate out of the fight for about 1 turn. They can still move around, but they just can't target you or other allies. So let's go ahead and get into actually playing these. All right, so we're going to go ahead and change the level to 4 here because I'm going to be playing with the level 1 incarnate. The common judge is going to be found right here. And you can tell it's common by the gray border, and it has 3 judge parts on it. It also is a death affinity, and it gets that death affinity because there's 2 or more death affinities on the parts. And in this case, it's actually 3 death affinities on those parts. So let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so let's go ahead and test out the mind ability first. So it is a summons that's called summons. It's teleport to a space in your presence and gain giant for 2 turns. So if you remember from the last video, the presence is dictated by the presence stat or pre as the short term, and it's a range of 3. And you can see that 1, 2, 3 spaces, that's my presence. So the light blue there marks the presence and where I could actually teleport to. So why don't we just go ahead and teleport to one of those spots and see what the buff we get is. So I'm going to go ahead and teleport. And notice that it teleports in whatever direction you're facing. So that's the way you're going to end up facing based on the teleport. And if you read the skill, we're supposed to gain giant for 2 turns. And there's the giant buff icon. So you have 25% more HP and your range is increased by 1. All right, so let's get into the body part. And the body part is Affidavit. So you can see when I hover over it, it shows that I can attack enemies in line 3 behind you. And the 3, again, if you remember, is based on your presence. So my presence is 3. And right here you can see that attacks enemies in line presence behind you. So my presence is 3, and you can see that the line is going 3 here. Now you can see that the red squares are being highlighted for where it's going to attack. So why don't we go ahead and move, turn the incarnate around so we can actually attack the enemy incarnate. We'll go ahead and move. Just remember that your movement is based off of your move stat. In this case, it's got a movement of 5, so I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in any direction here. And that's actually a pretty large move radius. One of the larger ones I think that are in the game. But we're going to just position this incarnate so I can go ahead and attack. And there. And now what I'm going to do is face around. Now the movement feature or implementation is changing, so I wouldn't take too much stock in how we actually move around. There's going to be a different way this is implemented soon. I think probably coming in the beta, we'll see it. So don't take too much stock into the movement piece there. But I can go ahead and use the Affidavit ability. And you can see now that 1, 2, 3 squares are highlighted red for where I can attack. So I'm going to use it. If there were other incarnates in this range, it would actually attack any of those incarnates in that range. So it'll attack all 3 of those abilities. So it's kind of like an area of effect, but very limited to the straight line behind you. Let's go ahead and use it. And just one-shot it. So pretty simple to kill that mob. All right, let's move on to the next skill. All right, so we're ready for the next skill. The next skill is going to be the soul ability, and it's called Subpoena. So it's attack target enemy and apply blind for 1 turn. So remember, anytime you attack, it's going to attack in front. You have to attack in front of you. There's an Eternal in the game that allows you to attack behind you if you place it on any specific incarnate. But all your attacks without that Eternal applied are going to be in front of you unless it specifically says, like the Affidavit ability here, that it's going to attack behind you. So remember that your attacks are based on your range. So in this case, my range is only 2. So if you look at the highlighted squares, you can see that I only have 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 2 range. So that's where I'm going to actually be able to attack. So let's go ahead and use it and attack the enemy incarnate. And there we go. 1 shot, dead. So you didn't get to see the blind debuff go onto the last incarnate. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop out into a different stage, and then we're going to go ahead and use the Subpoena ability on a higher level incarnate. That way we can see the debuff land and its effect. All right, so we're on a different map here. We're going to use Subpoena again on this incarnate. This incarnate is much higher level than me, so I don't expect it to die. It's also the next fastest incarnate, so we should be able to see that it's going to try to target me, but it won't end up attacking because it should be blinded. Let's go ahead and watch and see what happens. There's my Subpoena, attack, and there we go. So now I can click on this incarnate. You can actually see that it's got the blind debuff. Now it's saying that it's blind, and really what that means is that it's got a range of 0, so it can't attack anything outside of its own personal space. So let's go ahead and end our turn and take a look. So it's going to go ahead and move, and you saw that it had no targets come up, and that just meant that it was blinded and it couldn't attack. So that's what the blind debuff does. And so that covers all the abilities for all the common judge parts. All right, so there you have it. That's all the common judge parts. Pretty simple parts, so not too much to go through. It was a pretty quick video. You can see that the Subpoena ability is actually really powerful because you actually negate another incarnate's ability to attack. So it can really be a great crowd control ability. You also saw that there was some healing in the judge, and there was also some damage dealing. So there's a very good mix of crowd control versus healing versus damage in the judge class. It's really kind of be, I think, one of my favorite classes to play because I like that control jack of all trades aspect of those type of classes. If you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe. What do you think of the abilities? What do you think the other abilities in the judge class are going to be? Post a comment below, and hope to see you in the next video.